throwing fits, ripping shit, tearing it, imperative. Then I'm killing this mic no matter where I live. These derelict rappers acting the fool, this embarrassing, is flagrant. That's the nature of this entertainment, and we can't even change it. Guilty before arraignment, now the system tainted. But when we speak, they all laugh at us. And y'all wonder why I'm lacking trust. Trying to fight a giant with attorneys that can back them up. That church versus science, both sides start acting up. I'm late on my assignment, hopping up a mile high, climbing, obviously never silent. New alignment, I'm defined, cannot describe it. Used to describe it as a young graffiti artist. Before the beard, I always got carded. At every bar, even though my bar's been the hardest. The scars on my face, and I ain't always been the smartest. But I'll show you where my heart is. I said I'll show you where my heart is. I can show you where my heart's at. See it on my sleeve. Even if the beat stops, my soul will not leave. If I never stood tall, nobody will ever see. I can show you where my heart's at. See it on my sleeve. I can show you where my heart's at. See it on my sleeve. Even if the beat stops, my soul will not leave. If I never stood tall, nobody will ever see. I can show you where my heart's at. See it on my sleeve. I can show you where my...
The type of guy that would ride with the breeze. I'm higher than most people. I'm cold and icicle freeze. I'm liking to Mike Tyson. I'm a bison, a beast. I'm hot like Jamaica, like right by the beach. My pops is from a spot where they're fighting for peace. 8 years old out there watching people fight in the streets. All these sirens only make the violence increase. Yeah, we're still not loving police. It's that bright young American, nice, dumb, arrogant. Tight on a mic, but he might need a therapist. Heart full of kerosene, head full of fairy tales. Said that you're my homie, you don't know me, but I know you very well. Roll back on some West Coast shit. This whole track is wetter than your dress code kiss. About to hit the track, running on some retro fit. Against so lit, I guess so, bitch, now let's go.
I can show you where my heart's at. See it on my sleeve. Even if the beat stops, my soul will not leave. If I never stood tall, nobody...
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back because it's Tuesday, May 9th. My dude, how you doing, Pinky?
Oh, man, I'm doing good, buddy.
That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. We got some things to discuss. There are some things that have happened within the sports world, and that's, what we like to talk about. So we're going to jump on some of this stuff. We're going to start real hot. I don't care what you say this week. We're starting off real hot. But before we get there, how was your week, my guy?
Oh, man. Weekend went by way too fast, buddy. Way too fast.
Always does.
I did go see Guardians of the Galaxy.
Nice. I've heard good things.
10:35 showing.
Ooh, that's a little late.
I got home at 2 a.m.
Yeah,
Saturday morning.
That sounds about right.
And I wasn't even drinking. So that was rough. Thankfully, the wife and kids let me sleep in and get back to normal. But it was a good, relaxing weekend. Got some WWE in. Backlash wasn't bad. Wasn't the best, but wasn't bad. So it's good, man.
Yeah, I missed that one this weekend. I some honey to do list knockoffs that I had to take care of. Got the little dude out of his crib and into what he calls a big boy bed.
Yeah, buddy.
So that's been the interesting transition for sure. Not quite as easy to get him to go to sleep because he just crawl in and out of it, and that's like the coolest thing in the world apparently. So that'll take some time. I got a backyard that 2 years in a row now, half the grass doesn't want to grow in, the other half looks like it's the Masters greens. So I cannot figure out why. I think I got an idea. My backyard's on a pretty brutal slope, so I think there's areas where the water's just not getting into the roots the way it needs to, and it's just dying off. But it's really, really irritating the hell out of me. So I got to work on that some more next weekend. All my plants look good. All my trees look good. Everything's coming in green there. So, it is what it is. Good old grass yards.
You got to get your yard game up, baby.
Man, it's solid. Trust me. It's damn solid. But there's just, between the dogs and the slope of the yard, I don't know if there's going to ever be a way to fully get the areas that are dead in. So wife wants to just go to artificial turf. I'm like, no.
I like
That's not cool with me. No, that's not cool with me. I like real grass.
Pinky approved.
So my nonsense next weekend, we'll be dealing with that some more, probably getting some seed and laying that down to try and bring it back. But if it doesn't, then I'll probably just forever give up until I completely redo the backyard. But we'll see. We'll see. Nice hat you got there, sir. Rocking the 15 today.
I'm trying to bring it back. The last time I wore this, we won. So.
All right. I haven't worn my Nugs T-shirt all playoffs. I was like, maybe I should toss that on tonight and see what happens.
We need some.
Threw the hat on, a little mint green. Good luck kind of stuff. We'll see what happens tonight. They start here in about 30 minutes. So
yeah.
We'll see how the evening unfolds. They need to come out hot, but before we get to that, and we start off with a very on fire topic, if you will. You got any other news, notes, or discussions to jump on?
Man, that's about it. Let's rock and roll. Let's give the people what they want.
I'm fired up still, Pinky. It's been 2.5 days, 2 days, 3 days almost. Suns owner is a punk. And the refs blew that entire situation between Nikola Jokic and Matt Ishbia. Ishbia. Can never say it right.
It looks like Ishba, but
whatever. That whole situation was handled incredibly poorly. It was ridiculous that Jokic got anything for what happened, and I'll explain why, and then you feel free to give me your 2 cents, and we'll go from there. But here's what I saw. I saw a Suns player go out of bounds and fall on the owner and the fan next to him. Ball out on the Suns. Suns owner grabs ball. When Nikola Jokic goes to grab the ball from the owner to hand it to the ref and play fast, Ishbia turns away from Jokic and tries to hold the ball in his hands and not give it to the player on the court, which then leads to the ball being kind of tossed, hit way into the stands. Ishbia then puts his hand on Nikola Jokic's back while another fan is pushing Nikola's arm and another fan is pulling on his jersey. So Jokic gives him a little chicken wing, basically saying, "Get off me." And it turns out to be a Jokic technical and a Jokic $25,000 fine, and the owner is getting nothing. Nothing. That owner should have been removed from the game, period. I don't care if he's the owner. He should have been removed from the game for interference. There should have been a technical for interference. There should have been another technical for delay of game. And Jokic can get the technical because he interacted with a fan. So I understand why he got the technical. You can't interact with a fan in that way. It's a pretty clear-cut rule ever since the Malice in the Palace. Thank you, Ron Artest, for going after the wrong fan who didn't throw the beer on you. I think that was the biggest issue with all of that. If Ron Artest had just gone after the fan that actually threw the beer and the other fans had actually just made sure that was the fan that got it, it probably wouldn't have been as big of an issue as it was back then. But that's not what happened. He went after like 8 other dudes who had nothing to do with the situation. But what Jokic did, I had 0 problems with. 0. And anybody who had problems with it, you're blowing my mind. I don't understand. Because look, I'll be perfectly honest, and I think Pinky can back me up here. I am very player-centric. Very player-centric. And I've never been for fans being on the court. I think that's a joke by the NBA. I think all courtside seats on the court should be removed. I don't think there should be any fans on the actual hardwood itself. I don't like how close they are. I don't like that they can interact in these ways. I think it's an absolute travesty that they can. The only reason the NBA allows it is because there's dollars involved. That's it, period. So I would be saying this same thing if it was any NBA player in the entire league. I would be on the player's side in this situation. Fans do not have the right to hold up or interact or interfere with the game in any shape, way, or form, period. Period. And if those fans are going to put their hands on that player has every right to push those fans back and say, get off me. Nothing Jokic did was malicious. There was no ill intent by what he did. It was simply basically a shrug that said, get off me. I understand the technical simply because of the letter of the law within the NBA. So that's why I'm okay with the technical being assessed. I don't agree with it. I don't think there should have been in that situation. I think there can be some gray area within that rule, and that would have resulted in gray area and no technical. Again, the fact that the owner, a fan at that time sitting courtside, was not assessed 2 technicals for interference with the game and delay of game is an absolute joke. The fact that the refs weren't there sooner with players going out of bounds and getting over there to make sure there wasn't an interaction with the fans in a bad way was really, really bad on the refs' part. And then I just think anybody afterwards that was saying Jokic should be suspended, there should be a really hefty fine, what he did was inappropriate, I just don't agree with, period.
Well, I mean, I don't see anything egregious. Thankfully, I don't think anybody did because nothing happened besides the fine. I do think like the league could have come out and been like, put out some type of announcement. Fans, if you're sitting courtside, you're expected to do X, Y, Z. Like what the owner did is not really something that should be allowed. And I don't know if he should have gotten ejected as a fan. Like I don't know about that, but
they ejected the fan who was pushing on Jokic. They sent him out, but they didn't send the one out who was pulling on his jersey, and they didn't send the owner out for interfering with the game. Like, he ripped the ball back away from Jokic as he was trying to grab it and play fast. If that's any other fan and not the owner of that team, they're probably not allowed back in that arena for a minimum of a year. I would almost guarantee that.
I mean, it's – thankfully nothing came of it at the end of the day.
Because it's Jokic. Like, he just doesn't have that bad bone in his body, but he is going to stand up for himself, as he proved with, was it Marcus Morris or Marquise Morris? I can never remember.
One of them. One
of the dumbass Morris twins who thought he could throw a cheap shot at Jokic and not have anything happen back to him. Like, bro, he's a big Eastern European, Eastern Bloc dude. You think he's just going to let somebody toss him around? Like, come on. Like, you're a TV gangster, and he's an actual dude.
Right. He knows a guy. I'm pretty confident he knows a guy.
Yeah, his 2 brothers. Like, come on. Don't play nonsense with that stuff. We are very versed in nonsense. You do not play nonsense with the Jokic's.
You don't mess with Serbians at all.
Period. No doubt.
Oh, yeah, a big to-do about nothing. I know a lot of people got all up in arms about that was wrong of Joker to do that. And I was just like, I don't see that. I see a guy who tried to grab a basketball. The fan took it away. And then I see a bunch of dudes hanging on him, and he gave him, like you said, a little chicken wing.
Yeah.
And, that's a clear sign of, hey, get off of me. You shouldn't be touching me. But you're right. I mean, at the end of the day, there shouldn't be any fans courtside. It just shouldn't.
I hate that. And I've said it for years. It drives me absolutely nuts. There is no other sport where fans have the ability to interact in that way. There just isn't. Football is the closest thing to it, and there are some people who get, field passes and stuff, but they're far enough off the field where that's not going to be an issue. You do have some journalists and photographers sitting in the back of the end zone that can get run over from time to time. That's different, though. They're there to do a job, not watch the game, for all intents and purposes. The other thing that drives me nuts about this whole situation is people who come out and say, Jokic should have let the refs get the ball. Like, no. The player has every right to go get the ball and get it to the ref as quickly as possible to allow the game to move forward. If that team wants to play fast, they should be able to get the ball, get it to the ref quickly, and go. Jokic was trying to play a 5-on-4 down the court. That Suns player was down in the stands. He was trying to get the ball to the ref. He was trying to play fast and go. To say Jokic's mistake was trying to get the ball, there is zero rules in any of the rule books for basketball that say the player cannot go get the ball out of bounds. They have to wait for the ref to get it. There are zero rules about that. In fact, you see players grabbing balls that go out of bounds all the time.
Right.
This just happened to be a fan who grabbed it and would not let go of the ball when the player went to take it away. Never seen that before in my life. And no one can tell me any different. The owner did it on purpose because he saw his player laying on the ground right next to him. And he did not want the Nuggets to gain an advantage. Period.
I did love Michael Malone's press conference when they asked him about that. And they mentioned that the owner, and he's like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I don't care who it was.
It's the first thing in a press conference that I've liked from Michael Malone. Literally, the first time I've ever liked anything he said in a press conference. So, I know you say it's much to do about nothing, and I agree to an extent. But I don't want to say furious, maybe upset. I'm extremely disappointed in the NBA that owner is not being penalized in any way. Because if the owner just lets Nikola Jokic get the ball, none of this occurs. Period. Right. And no, I'm not listening to any of this nonsense about, well, if Nikola had let the ref get the ball, it wouldn't have happened. No. Then I don't ever want to see another player pick up a basketball when it goes out of bounds again. Like, honestly.
They have to.
If you have an issue of Jokic grabbing the ball, that's what I'm saying. If you have an issue with Nikola Jokic going to grab that ball, then you better have an issue every time a ball goes out of bounds and a player goes to get it. I have never, and Pinky, you know I watch a lot of sports. You know I watch a lot of basketball. I have never seen a fan grab a ball and refuse to allow the player to have it. Ever.
It's very rare that a referee is right there by the ball and can just get the ball. The players are always the one getting the ball. Like the refs don't put out that extra energy. So
the fact that the NBA, I think, I'm incredibly disappointed that the owner is seeing no punishment because what he did was very obvious and clear. There was intent to not allow Jokic to grab the ball. There was obvious intent for that.
I mean, and we know it's because he's an owner.
But that now you've set a precedent. You've literally set a precedent. So if any other fan does it, there's no consequences. Now, any other fan's going to get kicked out of the game, I'll guarantee it. But the consequences that should be there are non-existent. There's literally a law in the rule book that says if a fan interacts in the game that causes interference, I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but basically it says if a fan causes interference to the game, the flow of the game, it is an automatic technical. If a fan causes the game to be delayed, there is an automatic technical. These are in the rule book. And the refs did nothing. And the fact that they went and reviewed the incident and still came away with only Jokic getting a technical is absurd. Absolutely absurd. So I'm blown away on people who think Jokic should have been suspended. I'm blown away with people who are saying what he did was wrong. What I saw was a dude on the sidelines with fans interacting with him in a, I don't want to say malicious manner by any means, but interacting with him in a way where fans should not be touching a player. All he did was protect himself. That's what I saw. That's all I saw. He didn't get big. He didn't turn to the fans. He didn't push back. Like I said, that was a chicken wing, man. He didn't even turn his hand and push him. He gave him a chicken wing like you do a little kid when you're done with them climbing all over you. Like, that's what it was. So, and again, you guys, you come at me all you want. I would say this exact same thing, whether it was Draymond, whether it was the last place bench player on the Detroit Pistons. Anybody in the NBA that did those exact same actions, I would have been on the player's side 100%, no questions asked.
I take you for your word on that, my man. I think you'd be that stand-up guy.
So with that being said, luckily, the Joker was not suspended. We do have Game 5 tonight. Back home, Mile High, tied 2-2. Where's your confidence level at, Pinky, after we spoke last Tuesday when we were riding real high, and then they went and played 2 games in Phoenix and basically got smoked?
They didn't get smoked, but
I'll explain why I use those terms in a second, but please, go ahead.
They basically didn't compete in the fourth quarter. Jamal Murray, like Game 3, he scores 30 points in the first 3 quarters, and he was ice cold in the fourth, but he kept launching. What I
Shooters got to shoot, baby. Shooters got to shoot.
What I saw down in Phoenix, attack the rim. Attack the rim. I know you want to shoot threes. I know you want to do all that. But if you attack the rim, we're going to go to the foul line. We're going to get those guys timid. And as soon as they get timid, that's when Joker can pass all over them, and we just get easy buckets. So I saw too much us trying to play the three-point game, which on certain nights we can play. But I don't think you need to play that game against Phoenix. They have nobody down low that can stop you. Kevin Durant will play some defense here and there. I'll give it. He'll play some defense here and there. He's got some skills, but he ain't going to stop you all night. Get down there, get to the foul line, get those easy buckets. You know, I also don't think we've been playing fast in transition either. You know, we've been slowing it down. Push them. They're tired. They've played a lot of minutes in these playoffs. We need to push them.
So, percent-wise, you were sitting at 85-90, right about where I was last week. Where are you at now?
Well, I'm probably still at like 70. No road teams won yet.
Right.
So,
right.
You know, the odds still say, you know, Denver wins tonight, Phoenix wins, we win game 7 because no teams won on the road yet. So I still feel pretty good.
I would prefer not to go to 7, but I understand where you're coming from. We still have home court, so that is a plus.
The other thing I don't know if Devin Booker can stay as hot as he has been.
Oh my Lord. The dude's having a coming out party.
That's
crazy. That's crazy that I'm saying he's having a coming out party because he was already a superstar in the league. And he's gone to another level these last 2 games. He's 3 games.
He's like the better version of Trae Young.
Don't even know. There's no comparison there. He's literally playing, and I heard Kendrick Perkins say this, and a lot of people don't necessarily like Kendrick Perkins' takes. But I also heard Stephen A. echo this. He's playing like Kobe Bryant right now. He is killing the Nugs. Just killing them. Stephen A. called him the light-skinned Mamba. So he's a superstar, and he's having a coming-out party right now. Like, he's playing on another level. It's crazy.
I don't know if I see that, but I do see a guy who's literally wide open hitting shots, and they just keep letting him take shots, and he's making them. Games 1 and 2,
he's silky smooth. He's silky smooth, and he's one of the few guys that still has a mid-range game, just like Kevin Durant. And they're showing you how dangerous a mid-range game can still be in the NBA. That's what him and Durant are doing this series. It's wild.
In Game 4, we basically lost Game 4 based on like that dude that came out of nowhere and made 5 threes in the half.
Shamit.
I was like, who the hell?
His last name sounds like a curse word.
So, yeah, no idea where that came from, but good for him.
So you want to know why it's happening? You want me to break this down for you a little bit? I think Mike Malone should be on the hot seat right now. And this is why. And I don't say this lightly, and I've posted this a couple different times, and I've had people agree, and I've had people tell me I'm an idiot, and I don't know what I'm talking about, and I've never played basketball a day in my life. That's simply not true, and I'm really good at actually breaking down basketball film. This is what I see. I saw a team that went down to Phoenix And I actually saw some of this in game 3, but they played such great defense in game 2. But I saw such great defense in game 2, it overshadowed what I'm about to talk about. On the offensive side of the ball, the Nuggets are playing sloppy, and they're playing with really bad shot selection. Now, you kind of touched on the shot selection when you were talking about, wanting to play from the 3 line rather than taking it to the hole. But they're not just playing bad shot selection at the 3 line and taking shots that are contested that they shouldn't be. That ball is not rotating around like it has been, so that's a problem. It's getting stale and there's too much dribbling. When they are driving to the lane, and this has been very evident with Aaron Gordon specifically. MPJ's had 1 or 2. I think Bowen had 1. Not Bowen, Brown, Bruce Brown. You can't put your head down and go lower your shoulder right into somebody's chest when you're driving. You have to make an effort to avoid the defender, especially when they're in front of you, because they're going to call that charge every time if you lower your shoulder. I mean, the Nuggets they've had multiple of those calls
on that one, but
they've had multiple of those calls. You cannot do it more than once, and they've done it. I counted at least 5 in the last 2 games. When I say sloppy, the ball is not moving like it needs to be. The shot selection has been average to poor at best. When you have your superstar putting up 40 points, 17 boards, 17 assist games, and then 53 point, it was like 13, 14 boards and 6 assist games, you should never lose those games, period. But they did because, one, like you said, unfortunately, Murray's playing great for 3 quarters and then bad the 4th quarter these last 2 games. The role players were non-existent for whatever reason. And I think a lot of that had to do with, when I say sloppy, forcing shots that weren't needed. Taking them too early in the shot clock, taking them when they weren't wide open, holding on to the ball and dribbling when they shouldn't have been. There's a number of things that have been atrocious on the offensive end, and I do mean atrocious. Then on the defensive end, I've seen effort, and I've heard some people say that they haven't been playing defense with effort. I completely disagree. I have seen effort. What I haven't seen is a good defensive game plan, and that is all on the coach. All on the coach. What I've seen is a defensive game plan that says, if Booker and Durant get into the lane, we're going to double them. And Pinky, I don't know if you remember me saying this or not, but do you remember what I said needs to happen in order for the Nuggets to win this series when it comes to Durant and Booker?
No.
You can let them each go for 40 a night. Period, plain and simple. They can each go for 40 a night. That's not going to hurt you. What will hurt you is if you allow their non-existent role players to then also score when they're getting 40 a night. So if you're going to double every time they go into the lane and you're going to leave those role players wide open, they're bound to hit some of those shots. NBA players are professionals. They are in the league for a reason. And if you give them wide open shots like they take in practice, they're going to make you realize that they can actually shoot the ball. And that's what Shamet did. That's what Payne did some in game 3. DeAndre Ayton looked halfway decent in game 3 out of nowhere. A few of their other role guys stepped up. It can't happen. Play single coverage, force Durant and Booker to take contested shots all game. That's going to reduce their shooting percentages. It's going to reduce the role player's role because they're not going to get wide open looks. And if you allow Durant and Booker to go off for 40 apiece, there's 80 points. They get 20 points or so from the rest of their bench. Shit, game 2, they had 3 points total from their bench. 3. That is the winning formula. That's what you do. And what Malone has done is said, nah, we're not going with that game plan. We have to stop the 2 superstars. We have to stop 2 of the best scorers the league has ever seen. Stupid. You don't have Paul George. You don't have Kawhi Leonard. You don't have Klay Thompson pre-injury. What do all those guys have in common? Some of the best defenders the league's ever seen. You have none of those dudes. So don't sit there and put your guys in bad situations where you're trying to double, stop, and force them to give up the ball if you're not going to rotate, which the Nuggets have never been good in rotation. He should know this as the head coach. And even then, I don't like double period because I'm going to keep saying it. Durant and Booker can go for 40 a night. Shit, they can go for 50 a night apiece. And you should still win that game because nobody else should have scored for them. Nobody else. And the Nuggets can easily score 120. That's not a problem for the Nuggets to do, especially against the Suns, who are weak when it comes to their bench. They don't have a lot of rotation. Their starters are going to have to play heavy minutes. They're going to be tired come the end of the game. You should be able to run around them. The last thing I will say is when it comes to the double teams, the other issue it causes is it puts your guys in position where they're not able to box out and grab the rebounds on missed shots because they're in a bad position already defensively to try and recover and put a butt on a body, which is why you're seeing the Suns able to grab more offensive rebounds than they should. So while it looks like the Nuggets are not rebounding well, it's actually because of the defensive game plan and the scheme that they're running that's putting guys in bad spots to not allow them to actually be in position to make sure they're grabbing the rebounds. So unless that changes tonight, the Nuggets could be in trouble, legit trouble, because I don't see Durant or Booker slowing down, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't. They're taking really smart shots. They are not forcing bad takes. They're just not. And so with that being said, I've gone from an 85-90% down to a 65. And even if the Nuggets win tonight, it's not going to get a whole lot higher than that because we still got to go back down to Phoenix. This series should have been over in 5 at most. At most. This game should have been what would have been a closeout game at most. And it's not. And I fully believe Mike Malone as a very big shoulder of that blame. Because honestly, if you had your guys ready to go, the defensive scheme would have been exactly what I said it should have been. And yeah. I'm not an NBA coach. I don't know what I'm talking about. Like, okay, say what you want. I feel like I got a pretty good handle on this. Just because I haven't had the opportunity to go do it doesn't mean I may not know what I'm talking about. And as a coach, your guys taking contested bad 3-point shots, pull them out and sit their ass down. Like, it's really that simple. Put somebody in the game who's going to listen to what the team needs and play within that construct so that the team can make sure they win. And if you're not going to do that as the coach, then what the hell are you doing out there? So, right. I'm not – I love what Michael Malone said. The quote you said earlier, I don't give a shit when we were talking about, the fan and who it was and stuff. I loved all of that. I don't dislike Mike Malone. But I'm seeing a lot of the same things right now from Mike Malone that the Bucks fired Budenholzer for. And I say all this to say I think no matter what happens, Malone keeps his job, and that's going to infuriate me unless they get to an NBA Finals. I'm disappointed in the way the coaching staff has handled those 2 games in Phoenix.
That's fair, man. That's fair. Again, the game 4 got away from us a little bit more in the fourth quarter. The fourth quarter in game 3, though, that was just ridiculous. How
they had their chances. They had their chances.
Had our chances, and we should have finished it out. So, that's the one series in the West. The other series in the West is going a direction we didn't quite see coming.
I ate my crow earlier, right before we came on the air. Just so you're aware, I made sure I had a big plate of crow because I'll give it to you, Pinky. You were right. Lakers took game 1. Golden State came back, won game 2. Lakers then won both games at home, which honestly blew my mind. What I see from Golden State, which is, it's going to be crazy to even say it out loud, but they are playing some of the most undisciplined basketball I've ever seen. And I'm not just talking about from a championship team. I'm talking about ever, period.
Bro. Game 4 last night. Warriors were up like 10 points in the fourth quarter. And I just like, oh, this is over. Put my phone down, went to bed. I woke up and I was like, wait, the Lakers won? And then on top of that, I looked at the box score and I was like, how in the hell did Klay Thompson score 9 points?
Yeah. 1 of 7, I think, from 3-point. He had an atrocious look late in the fourth quarter that was just – I've seen him hit that shot, but it was a really bad IQ basketball shot that Klay usually doesn't take unless he's been feeling it all night. I just saw so many sloppy mistakes, undisciplined ball.
Jordan Poole being 0, like didn't score a point. I know he's
5 minutes. I think he played like 5 or 6 minutes, period.
He played 10.
Okay, 10. I mean, usually he's hovering around 25.
He normally gets more. They played Gary Payton Jr. a lot, but he was playing well.
Now, I do believe, and Lakers fans are going to scoff at this, but I don't really care because Lakers fans, for the most part, have no basketball IQ.
Well, they're pretty obnoxious to begin with.
There were some really bad moving screen calls on Golden State that were not being called on the Lakers. The officiating was inconsistent all game. Just like I said, you can't blow career nights by your star player when we were talking about Jokic and the Nuggets. Dude, Steph Curry goes for 30, 16 assists?
Hold on.
15 assists and 11 rebounds.
But you also have to look, Curry also shot
bad shooting night.
12 for 30.
Bad shooting night. I was going to get there. He was not shooting the ball well. But the fact that he wasn't shooting the ball well, he was taking it into the lane a lot more. And did you see some of the highlighted assists that he had?
Oh, they're nice.
Dude, I'm going to say it right now, and I don't ever want to hear it from anybody again, including you. The man's a point guard. He proved it last game. He just doesn't play it the same way as Magic Johnson does. So if you want to see Magic Johnson point guard, guess what? It doesn't exist in the NBA anymore. Period. You want to see what a new point guard looks like? Watch Steph Curry. Here's the other thing I'll say about Steph Curry as a point guard. Just because you're the point guard doesn't mean you can't be the best scorer on your team. So he's got insane vision, which he showed last game. He showed he can pass the ball and get guys open and get them going if he needs to. I mean, he had 15 or 16 assists. And he also showed that he can drive and finish at the rim with some of the best that have ever done it. And people say all he is a shooter. So that game, to me, proved everything you need to know about, 1, Steph Curry being top 10 all time. 2, there's definitely an argument to decide him over Magic as the best point guard of all time. And 3, he's a point guard. Deal with it. Now, he had a bad shooting night. Bad shooting night. And I will say his last shot of the game where he tried to launch up a 30-ish footer to go up 2 when they were down by 1 with, I believe there's like 15 seconds left on the clock, was a terrible shot. Even if he was feeling it and he was 9 of 10 from 3-point that night, I would have said it was a bad shot because he had Anthony Davis that he was trying to shoot over from 30-ish feet out, and he had been driving the ball really well all game. He had to take that ball to the rim and draw some contact or dish it to somebody for the wide open look on the drive. That was what he should have done. They were down by 1. 2 free throws, a 2-point, that gets you up and forces the Lakers to have to try and hit a game winner. 1 free throw at least ties the game and sends it to overtime, right? So for him to take that shot at the end of the game, it was really bad. I saw a stat today, and it's an ugly stat, unfortunately. It's about the only bad stat Steph Curry has on his resume, in my opinion. He is 0 for 14 for clutch shots, which is it's the game within 3 points or 5 points or something like that, last minute of the game. He is 0 for 14 career in the playoffs. That's ugly. That is ugly. So I get the confidence. I get you got range for days. I get you regularly hit those shots. But in that situation, you got to know. And I believe he knew. I believe he knew as soon as he let it go and he missed. I believe his first thought was, damn, that was a bad shot. That is not what I should have done in this situation. Because he is high basketball IQ. Steph Curry is very high basketball IQ. I think he was trying to give a dagger. I think he was trying to hit that three, go up by 2, and really force the Lakers to do something that would have gotten them out of there with a series tied at 2 going back to Golden State. And he missed. He missed. And you could argue that his shooting night and that last second shot cost them the game, unfortunately, even though he did hang 30, 15, and 11 rebounds. So they got an uphill battle. The good news is they are tried, they're tested, they are defending championship. They've got the dog in them. I could easily see them winning the next 2 and it going back to Golden State for a game 7. I don't put that out of the realm of possibility. I would absolutely love if Steph and the Warriors could beat LeBron after going down 3-1 and pretty much end that whole LeBron beating him in the finals being down 3-1 when they were the best team in regular season history. I don't know if it's possible, though. I don't know if it's possible because they're just all playoffs, to be perfectly honest with you, all playoffs, they have been playing sloppy, undisciplined basketball. They've just been talented enough to get away with it in the first series against Sacramento, and they're talented enough to win a game against the Lakers, but it's cost them 3 games against the Lakers. So confidence level for the Warriors being able to come back down 3-1, I would say is about a 51%, honestly. Now, I'm not saying 51% confidence that they can win the series. I'm saying 51% chance that they are that talented that they could do it. Does that make sense?
I mean, do they still have a shot? Sure. Until you kill them, they still got a shot.
Right.
But that's a tough road when the Lakers are playing pretty good team basketball right now. So.
And I think Lakers got a lot more depth than people realize. Lonnie Walker IV is a stud. He got into some issues down in San Antonio, and Pop doesn't play no games. And so he quickly fell out of favor down there because of some of the games he was playing, and he wanted to be the dude, and they didn't quite want to go that route with him. They wanted DeJounte Murray to kind of be that guy, and then they trade him away anyways. But don't get it twisted. Lonnie Walker IV is super talented. So what he did in that fourth quarter did not surprise me at all. It surprised me a little bit that he all of a sudden found his way back in the rotation. But what he did was not surprising because of how talented I knew he was. So that's just one more dude the Lakers can throw out there on the court with LeBron and AD and Reeves, who's playing really well this season. And Rua Hachimura and some of the other guys.
Prayers for AD to keep playing.
Street clothes is looking pretty solid. I mean, this series, he's looking pretty solid. He's had 1 down game and 3 good games. So, we'll see what happens. We mock and we joke and we call him street clothes. But when it comes to talent, Pinky and I have always been on the same page for any sport. We want to see the best go at the best. Like, that's what we want to see. We don't want to see dudes injured and on the side. We're not those types of fans. We're not those types of, sports talk guys or whatever you want to call it. We want to see the best go at the best. So AD being out all the time or not showing up for certain games and stuff, we don't root for that. But we're going to call you out and mock you for it if you're going to talk a big game and not show up when it counts. So props to AD. He's absolutely showed up. The other thing is I will say –
Nuggets up 9-0 to start the game, by the way.
I see that. I didn't want to say anything just yet. I'm not trying to jinx anything.
I'm gonna go with the positivity.
I like it. I will say, love or hate LeBron James, you better recognize and respect the greatness. Because what this dude is doing with this group of guys that just came together after the trade deadline, the way he's been able to galvanize them, the way he's been able to lead them, the way that he's got them playing right now, it's high-level stuff. High-level stuff. And when some people say, well, you talk bad about LeBron and stuff. No, I have not. I've said I haven't liked his attitude at times. I haven't liked the way he's carried himself at times. I haven't liked the way he's treated some of his teammates at times. And I've said the same thing about Jordan. But the difference to me when it comes to Jordan and LeBron is Jordan had another level, an it factor, that he could single-handedly take over a game throughout his career. I have seen flashes of that from LeBron. I have not seen it consistently from LeBron. And that's where it separates for me, and why I will always think Jordan is the GOAT. I think if Jordan had played as many years as LeBron did, I think all of the records LeBron would still be chasing because they would be in Jordan's name. If Jordan didn't go to college for 3 years, if he didn't miss 2 years of the NBA because his dad passed and he went and played baseball, I mean, there's a number of factors here that have put LeBron and Jordan on the levels they are at. But that being said, there was something I was thinking about the other day, and it's still one of my favorite playoff highlights of all time, is when LeBron went against Detroit. I want to say it was like 05, 06, somewhere in there, 07 maybe. And he hung 25 straight points in the fourth quarter to beat Detroit in Detroit. That's when I truly knew. And I was a big fan from the moment he played his first game against Sacramento back in 02. I've been a big fan since then. But I don't like people putting him on a pedestal that I don't believe he quite deserves. So then I feel like I got to talk to it, and then people tell me I'm knocking him down or I'm not a LeBron fan. That's just not true. He's done some things that are amazing. They are greatness. He's also done some things that you would never see Jordan do, like not showing up in an NBA championship and losing to the Dallas Mavericks when you have Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh and Ray Allen on your team. Actually, Ray Allen wasn't on that team yet. But Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh were. And showed in an NBA Finals. So, I think he's learned from all of that, though. I think he's grown. I think he's evolved his game. Shoot, he went to the free throw line late in last night's game and hit 2 big clutch free throws, which is something he ran and shied away from early in his career. And he's not doing that anymore. So, I had a 12-9. What happened, Pinky? I had originally said that the Nuggets would want to see the Lakers over the Golden State Warriors. And that might be some more crow I have to eat, because right now that's definitely not the case. I am not prepared to say the Lakers are going to win this series, because I do believe there's been flashes in these games that if Golden State all of a sudden says, all right, we're going to play disciplined basketball again, and they can turn that switch somehow, they will beat the Lakers in this series. But if they have one more game of sloppy, undisciplined basketball, there was a turnover last night that they had where DiVincenzo was inbounding the ball to Curry, and he lazily threw it to him, and Curry had a guy on him. And the guy just kind of grabbed the ball almost like, whoa, oh, this is here? Cool, thanks. And it led to a Lakers layup. Like, you can't do that. You just, that is so mind-boggling to see from a championship caliber team like Golden State Warriors, the way they played and the just ridiculous turnovers they've had. And that's what's cost them in the playoffs. I do not believe the Lakers are more talented. I don't. And people will argue with me, and that's fine. I believe the Lakers are playing disciplined, half-court, mediocre pace basketball. They're not playing slow, but they're not playing fast. They're playing in the paint basketball, basically. Golden State wants to play high-octane, fast, three-point shots, a lot of movement. And you can do that, and you can run the Lakers ragged, but you can't turn the ball over at the rate they're turning the ball over. Right. And that's what's killed them. Right. So if they all of a sudden can find that switch to play disciplined basketball again, I do believe they'll win the series. But they're going to have to play 3 games of disciplined basketball in a row for that to happen.
They can probably win Game 5 in Golden State. It's going to be that Game 6 in LA that's going to be tough.
Agreed.
So that's the West. In the East, we have one that's surprising most people, but playoff.
I don't know why. I honestly don't know why it's surprising anybody. The Knicks are not that good. I've been saying it all year. The Knicks are not that good. They lucked out in the first round and played.
They played the Cavs.
A young, inexperienced team that isn't very deep. And so they were able to take advantage of those moments. Donovan Mitchell no-showed, basically, which definitely helped the situation.
I think Game 1. I think he showed Game 1.
That was it.
Game 1. And that was
it. Mobley didn't show up. Garland didn't show up. I mean, they just – young and inexperienced is all I can chalk it up to.
They would get down quick in that series, and then it was like they were done. Like they get down 18 or 20, and it was like, oh, we're done.
So Knicks fans sitting here thinking they're the stuff, and then they win Game 1 against the Heat, and they're thinking they're money and they're golden. Like, nah, I never believed in the Knicks. I never had any faith in the Knicks. Nothing about that team worried me. And I said Jimmy Butler's that dude. Playoff Jimmy's a real man, and he's shown that. And the Heat also won a game without Jimmy Butler, which shows you how great of a coach Eric Spoelstra is and how prepared he had his guys to go out there and play and make sure they took care of business.
And the Heat have literally dominated most of the games.
Yes.
Like, it's crazy.
Yes. They're up 3-1. They're up 3-1 with a chance to close it out tomorrow night and go get some rest because that's really all I want to say about that series. Jalen Brunson's been so-so. Randolph hasn't been much. Randall has not been great. That's really all the Knicks have. Barrett is a okay role player. He's not a superstar. So Brunson's basically out there playing by himself with a bunch of dudes who can't really shoot. In all honesty, that's what the Knicks are. They were playing out of their league. They're like the Knicks are like that dude who you see walking around with somebody who you find very attractive, and you go, "How in the hell did that ugly motherfucker end up with that beauty?" And you hear guys say that kind of stuff all the time. You went out of your league. Your wife's out of your league. Your girlfriend's out of your league. You got lucky. Damn, you must be a funny dude because that's the only way you got her. Like, dudes say that all the time. The Knicks are that dude.
Hey, bro.
And it's catching up to them now. There you go, baby.
Funny fat guy.
hey. That's the Knicks, and it's the gig's up, as they say. So they're done. Miami will be in the Eastern Conference Finals. Miami's got a bunch of shooters too, and I know I said Bam Adebayo has not shown up the way you would like to have seen him with taking that next step and becoming a star in this league. But he does do a lot of little things that don't necessarily show up in a box score that assists his team in being able to win games. And that can easily go unnoticed if you're not paying attention to what's going on. His defensive rotations and help is some of the best you will ever see in the league. I shouldn't say ever see, but in today's NBA, some of the best you will see. They got a bunch of dudes who can shoot, and they got that dude, playoff Jimmy.
That is one of Junior's favorite players is Bam Adebayo.
I love Bam. I have been waiting for him to kind of take that next step. And maybe I've been expecting too much. Maybe he is just that really nice, not quite star, but more than a role player. And he just kind of like a Rodman, where he'll do anything and everything he needs to help his team win. But he just doesn't get that kind of recognition.
He's probably an all-star, but not a superstar, right?
Yeah, I would kind of agree with that. So, like Miami to advance, we'll see how that plays out. I don't think the Knicks can come back from 3-1. I actually give this – I will go on record. I give the Knicks a 0% chance of coming back from 3-1. That's how confident I am that Miami will close this series out. Whether it's next Game 5 or in Game 7, Miami wins this series. In the other series, Boston and Philadelphia, I will say this. I don't know if I've ever seen two teams, and more so Boston than Philly, but I believe they both fall into this category, that are supposed to be favored or finals caliber, championship caliber teams that are so incredibly inconsistent as a whole. Like, it is mind-blowing how inconsistent these two teams are. On Philadelphia's side, Embiid could have a 30-point night, and you go back and watch the game and you go, that game was terrible. Like, I don't care that you scored 30. You played like shit. James Harden has proved he can no-show one game and then come out and arguably be the best player on the court the next game. And then Jason Tatum, in my opinion, is the most inconsistent superstar in NBA history. And yes, I believe he is a superstar. He can do things that people cannot do. He can play defense, maybe not as quite a high as level as you would like him to. But
look at his
offensive inconsistency is mind-blowing.
If you look at his stats, he put up 36 points, right? But he was 11 for 27, 3 for 11 from the three-point line. He hit 11 free throws. That's where that 36 points really came from.
And who won the game, Pinky?
The Sixers.
Yeah, the Sixers won the game. So the Sixers are up 3-2?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they're going back to Philly. This series is 3-2, and they're going back to Philly. So I'm not going to sit here and say Philly can win and it's over in 6. I'm not going to say Boston can win and go back home and win. This series is a gosh darn coin flip, and it's honestly because of how incredibly inconsistent these teams play on any given night. I just can't figure it out. It makes zero sense to me why it's this flip-flop.
I don't know why Boston isn't challenging Embiid more on that bum knee. They're just letting him kind of sit around. They're not even making him like move. A guy's got a bum knee. He's wearing a brace.
And I think he's shooting something ridiculous. Like, I think I saw it was like 14% when Al Horford is guarding him. So why wouldn't you just put Al Horford on him all game? Like, there's so many things that and I could go on both sides of the ball for both teams. Offense, defense, Sixers, Celtics. The inconsistency. I'm not going to go through a bunch of plays and examples of where things come from, but
the way these teams are playing right now,
wild.
I don't know if they want to play the Heat.
I know. I agree with that. That's a great point, Pinky. That is a great – cheers, my guy. That's a great point.
The way that the Heat's playing good team defense, they're playing good offense. They're just playing good team basketball. I don't know if I'd want to play the Heat right now if I were them.
It's there's literally no rhyme or reason, and some of it's been on coaching, some of it's just been on players and execution, and I really ripped into Mike Malone and his defensive scheme, the way he's handling this series. I'm not seeing those things from a Mazzulla and a Doc Rivers. I'm not seeing great coaching by either one, but I'm also not seeing things where I would be like, why the hell are you trying to do that? I'm seeing players brain fart. I'm seeing coaches brain fart. And then I'm seeing brilliance, too, at the same time. And I don't know how you can go from a 0 score to a 100 score if you're talking about, like, testing, like an absolute F to an absolute A+ from play to play. Like, it's absurd, and I don't know if I've ever seen anything like it in the playoffs.
And what's crazy, I actually think the best coach right now outside of Popovich is Spoelstra. I mean, he's just great. He's just great.
And I will also say, and I meant to say this earlier, so I apologize that I did not. Man, I'm a huge Darvin Ham fan. I really am. I think that dude, especially this being his first year, I think he is just a phenomenal coach. I hear him say all the right things in the press conference after the games. his guys have looked prepared all playoffs. I have not seen anything from him where I'm like, I mean, every coach is going to make a mistake or do something that they would like back. But I have not seen anything egregious from him like I did from a Budenholzer or a Malone, or a Rivers or a Missoula or Thibodeau or I'm just not seeing him make that big misstep. And that could probably be a lot of the reason why, they're beating Golden State right now. Now, I believe Golden State's beating themselves. I truly believe if they weren't playing as sloppy as they were, they would be up in the series. Or at least it would be tied 2-2 at the very minimum. But Darvin Ham he is just a phenomenal coach. The Lakers made the right choice there. I would say you're absolutely correct. Darvin Ham is not the best coach in the playoffs right now. I do believe that's Spoelstra. I think Steve Kerr is probably the second best coach in the playoffs right now, even though they're playing a little sloppy and inconsistent. But there's been some talk of turmoil within Golden State's team all season. And if that is true, Kerr should get even more credit than he's already getting. You know what I mean? So the fact that he's been able to even hold it together like this. I mean, the season started off with Draymond Green punching Jordan Poole right in the face. So the fact that Kerr was able to even get them into the playoffs with that is kind of crazy. But I think Darvin Ham is a close third as far as coaches right now. So, Clayton, you're going to have to go back and listen, my guy. We are not rehashing that. I ate my crow. Your Lakers are looking good. I do not believe they're the better team, but I gave them their due because they are playing better basketball.
And at the end of the day, Pinky was right. So
I ate my crow. I did. First thing I did when we started talking about the Lakers, I ate my crow. So, Clayton, you'll have to go back and listen to it. Shout us out on Facebook or something. We can discuss anything you want going forward. But I do believe that Golden State is still the better team. Lakers are playing better basketball, which is why they're up in the series.
And as a recap, Clayton, the Warriors have a chance to still win the series. But it's not a very good chance.
There are some key things that the Warriors would have to do in order for that to happen for them. So please feel free to go back and listen. Shoot us up, talk us up, say something next week for all we care. But yeah, we're not going to hash it back out again. I apologize, my dude. Glad you're able to join us after work, though. So yeah, coin flip, Pinky. When it comes to the Celtics Sixers, honest to God, coin flip. I cannot pick. I cannot decide.
I kind of want – I mean, the Celtics went last year. Kind of want the 76ers to get to this West or Eastern Conference Finals and play the Heat. And let's see where – let's just see where the chips fall. I think if the Heat could make the finals as an 8th seed, that's awesome. That just shows you that, what, if you play good basketball, it doesn't matter, So – and I think they took advantage of the Bucks and Giannis being hurt a little bit, but they got outcoached. So that happens. All right, Caleb. Is it time for some hockey? Uh-oh. Did he free? Oh, okay. He's still there.
No, sorry. I'm getting chatted up here by my brother with the Nugs, and I'm about to say something that I know for sure he's going to call me a complete idiot for, because my brother has never agreed with anything I've ever said sports related and thinks I'm an idiot. So, yeah, that's always been fun. It's always nice to hear your younger brother tell you you're stupid and can't do anything right.
I kind of like your brother.
But
He
hey,
seems like a nice guy.
Guess what? I have a podcast and he doesn't, so I'm going to say whatever the hell I want. Cheers, everybody. I've asked him to come on. He said no. So, you know what? That's on him.
He can't defend his points. I mean, we used to have Zach that would tell you were stupid, but, so now every once in a while, I just have to remind you that you're stupid from time to time.
You guys do that. You like to keep me toes on the ground, if you will, head out of the clouds kind of idea. But, I think I honestly believe, and I don't know if we can quite prove this unless somebody really wanted to take the time to go back and watch all our shows or or listen to all our old episodes that were just recorded, I'd like to think if we're looking at win percentage, I'm on the right side of that win percentage. My overall takes, I think, come out right more often than they do wrong.
You might be 60%, maybe, right? I could give you that. You might be 60%.
I mean, how many dudes in the sports world, though, have a 60% accurate take rate, though? I'd say that's pretty good. I mean,
well, and you're and also you're not trying to like say outlandish shit just to get likes. So
right, I don't do hot takes. I do things that people would be considered hot takes, but you know, I back them up with reason and numbers and logic, and it's just what my eyes see, and you know, sometimes my eyes lie, right? Not as much as Pinky's. I don't have lying eyes. But you know, it is what it is.
I don't have my glasses on. That's the problem. I don't have my glasses.
Cheers. Love you, my guy. Let's hit up some hockey.
So let's talk about something for our man Cody. That poor bastard. I don't like the lottery. I don't like the NBA lottery. I don't like the NHL lottery.
All lotteries are rigged. Nobody will ever be able to convince me otherwise. All lotteries are rigged.
So we're coming up on NBA Draft 2, which I will actually be watching in person at a bar.
This guy is great. I love having this guy around.
Clayton, hold on, bro. You've only been around for a little while. You don't know what happened before.
Appreciate you, Clayton.
He might be 70% somewhat this year in 2023, but. Going back, he's had some bad takes.
Name one, though. Name like a really bad take that I've had. Can you think of one that was like really bad?
I could if I really went at it. I mean, your Aaron.
I wish we had like a stat department that could go back and be like, "Yo, our next week's job is to go back through and jot down all your takes, win-loss record." I would love that.
Right. We don't have our Mountain Dew bets like Skip and Shannon.
Yeah, but some of those are they shouldn't even be spoken out loud. They're so stupid and terrible.
They try to
but yeah, I would like to know where I'm at overall. That would be fun to know. One day, maybe, Pinky. One day.
That sounds like a lot of work, bro.
Dude, we're not going to do it. I'm just saying one day maybe somebody will do it for us. You know what I mean?
Nobody's got that kind of time.
No, nobody got time for that. Yeah, sorry. Go back to what you were talking about with our poor Cody.
So,
yeah, man. Our hockey man, a good buddy of ours, Cody. He got some bad news last night.
The NHL lottery happened last night.
All lotteries are rigged. I'm going to say it again. All lotteries are rigged.
I want to say, I think, what is it? They had like 3 teams that had the best odds.
No. No, this is not the NBA now where 3 teams have like equal odds. It is descending order. The Ducks had the best odds. Then it was shoot, I can't remember who it was. Chicago had the 3rd best odds though. Detroit had the least odds.
The lottery odds were Ducks at 25.5%, Blue Jackets 13.5%.
Columbus, that's who it was.
And then the Blackhawks
Chicago at
11.5%.
Yeah.
And they got the number 1 pick. The Blackhawks did.
They sure did.
This is good for hockey as a whole because the Blackhawks, being one of the blue blood teams of the NHL, they travel. Their fans travel well. They have a big fan base. Them getting the number 1 pick and probably getting the most coveted player coming out since McDavid.
Dude, he's already being talked. Yeah, absolutely. He's being talked about as a generational talent already, like big time talent.
So,
Bedard.
Or at least that's how it sounds. It's Bedard.
Okay, Bedard.
I mean, the dude was like his stats for this wherever he was playing.
Dude, he is. Yeah, I've seen some highlights. Dude's crazy good.
These were literally. He's 17 years old to begin with.
Yeah.
And then
imagine that. He's going to be playing his rookie year as an 18-year-old, and people are already talking about how he's going to light the league on fire. As an 18-year-old.
So he played 57 games for the Regina Pats. I don't know where that is.
I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, we might have to do a little bit more research, but if what I was reading or looking at the other day was correct, it's like double-A baseball. It's not even like what you would say minor league triple-A baseball. It's like the step below that.
Right. So he scored 71 goals and had 72
assists. In 57 games.
This is following up on last year. He played 62 games. He scored 51 goals and 49 assists last year. So, like, he basically increased his overall production by a huge margin.
Yeah.
And just wow, man. Just wow.
And that's with everybody knowing they stop him. Like, you know what I mean? That's with everybody going, we have to stop that dude and only that dude. And he still went off on everybody. We'll get there, Clayton. There is some Avs conversation that we'll end the hockey with. So hold that thought for a second.
So I feel for you, Cody.
And let's clarify. The reason we feel for Cody is because Cody is a huge Ducks fan.
Big time.
Huge Ducks fan. And the Ducks have one of the top young talents in the game right now in Zegras. So if they had gotten Bedard and paired him with Zegras, you would have seen some insane magic, specifically on the offensive side of the ice. It would have been really fun to watch. So the fact that – oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely he does. So the fact that the Ducks lost that lottery, Anaheim, while it's in LA, is not considered a big market. I think the Angels have proved that with, basically ruining the careers of Mike Trout and the beginning of Shohei Ohtani. While they both put up numbers, they don't see the playoffs. They don't get to play on the biggest stage. The Ducks, on the other hand, the Angels have won a World Series in our lifetime, so it's not like they've always been atrocious. They just are now. And the Ducks, unfortunately, after they basically got rid of their championship team with, Teemu Solani and that era of the Ducks, there's obviously some other names on there. Don't Paul Correa and some of those guys. But once that kind of team ended and it broke up, the Ducks have had some good years, some bad years, but they've never been able to find that magic again. And you put Zegras with Bedard, I think that would have gotten them back to where they want to be. And they lost out, and Chicago got it. The last time Chicago got the number one pick and was able to grab what people considered a generational talent, they got Patrick Kane, Pinky, back in 2005. I believe it was 2005. That seems like too long ago. Maybe 2007. Somewhere in that ballpark.
He's
early
been playing
to mid 2000s, right? And they went on to win 3 championships in 6 years, or 3 championships in 5 years, depending on how you want to look at it. So a lot of people are saying this is very, very eerily similar. So congrats to the Blackhawks. They're an original 6. I've always liked them. I don't necessarily root for them, but I've always liked them. But I feel bad for our boy Cody because I know how badly he wanted his Ducks. He didn't think it was going to happen. He thought it was rigged and they were going to get screwed and they weren't going to get it anyways. So
I think when we talked to him in the middle of the season, I was pretty much like, hey, bro, the Blackhawks are going to get the number 1 pick. Like, I just knew, like, it just seemed like that. Just like for the NBA, the Spurs have the best odds, but I still think Houston's going to get the number 1 pick. They want to put Wemby in Houston, not in San Antonio.
I think they want to put him in Detroit, actually. I personally think they want to put him in Detroit with the talent that Detroit has, with Wiseman and Cade Cunningham and some of those dudes. Well, it would be interesting to see. But it's kind of like LeBron James is from Akron, Ohio, and somehow Cleveland got the number 1 pick and was able to draft the second possibly greatest player in NBA history. Yeah, it's rigged. I think lotteries are a terrible way to make draft picks. I know people say it's to prevent, tanking and stuff. But dude, let's be honest. If a team wants to tank that bad, let them. Because even in basketball, if you tank that bad, even a Michael Jordan or LeBron James is not going to be able to turn around your franchise. That's been proven. Michael Jordan and the early Chicago Bulls were bad. And yes, Michael Jordan was able to carry them to the playoffs, but he was not able to carry them to championships on his own.
Right.
LeBron James was able to arguably carry the worst roster ever in the history of the game to the championships, but then they got smoked very quickly by a really good San Antonio Spurs team. So while one player can win games for you, one player cannot win championships for you in hockey or basketball. So if a team wants to tank that bad, let them. Because if that team doesn't figure out how to do things correctly, they're not going to win anyways. In a lottery and draft odds and ping pong balls and you're never going to convince me otherwise that they're not rigged, period. NBA tried to say for years that they didn't have a reffing problem. One of your referees went to jail for sports betting on the games he was refereeing. So you were wrong. You knew you were wrong, but you were still trying to save face in the public view, and it didn't work.
Right.
So rig away, NBA and NHL. Part of it is also not having salary caps, not having a hard cap, not having that floor that you really have to meet like the NFL does. I've said it time and time again, and I know NFL is your jam, Pinky, and we've talked about this a lot. The NFL really has the perfect model when it comes to salaries and the cap and things of that nature, because it allows a team to go from worst to first within a 3-year period if they run their organization properly.
The salary cap would fix most of baseball.
Oh, it would completely change it and fix it. The players will never let it happen, though. So you're always going to have – and what sucks about baseball, and I know we've gotten off to hockey topic, we'll get back to it here, but this all kind of ties into what we're talking about with the lottery and stuff. What sucks about baseball is until you get the Moneyball Oakland A's or the Tampa Rays right now that no longer happen, and they have to be non-existent for like a couple of decades, you're never going to be able to convince baseball players that that's needed. And that union's never going to say, okay, let's do a salary cap. Because when teams like that are able to win and they're not spending money, it completely blows our argument for a salary cap out of the water. You know what I mean? But I do believe the NFL does have the best model as far as overall teams being able to truly turn it around right away.
What I dislike about the way that happens in baseball, because it does, teams draft well, they develop well, and then they end up having a good team on the field. But that's like 3 years. And then they go back to sucking for like a decade. And their fans...
Yeah, because you're going to have to blow it up. Those players are going to move on and take the big contracts from the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Giants,
Sox,
the Cubs, the Red Sox. Yeah. Yep. So you're right. It doesn't last long, but the fact that it even happens is a huge argument against what we're trying to say right now, unfortunately.
Right.
Basketball doesn't have that problem. You suck in basketball, you suck in basketball. There is no team not spending anything and winning in basketball. That doesn't happen. It doesn't happen in hockey either. So hockey, basketball, don't use baseball as your argument. Look at football, and if you guys truly want a competitive balance, you're going to have to give up something to get more in the long run. Now, the way you overcome that is, yeah, you may not have these crazy max contracts like what they're at now, but your floor also raises. So while the superstars may not quite make as much as they are right now, those bottom-end guys are able to make a little bit more, and you bring those two closer together to where the small markets have just as much ability as the big markets to compete.
Right.
And that's, I'll say it again, and Pinky and I have had many discussions about this, and we are both very much in agreement. The NFL model is perfect, and it's why it is the king right now, because even the Browns have a chance at going worst to first. Now, they're really stupid, and the moves they've made are not intelligent enough to allow that to happen, but they've had the talent there that they could have done it.
Bro, it happened last year. The Jags were last place.
We're not talking about the Jags. The Jags are smart enough to dump their terrible mistake and move on. I'm saying the Browns don't have that opportunity.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying.
I'm not saying worst to first isn't possible. Worst to first is definitely possible. I'm saying the Browns specifically do not have that opportunity. Sorry, Caleb. Sorry, Junior. Not going to happen in your lifetime.
The Browns have a really bad owner.
Awful owner.
Trickles down. So
I also think Stefanski is overrated as a coach, but that's topic for another day, and we can go down that road when the time is coming here in a month or two.
All right. So now
let's really get into the playoffs.
We gave Cody some tissues. He's really excited about the second round of the playoffs. We've had some. I wouldn't know if we're really getting the best matchups here, but right now on the Western Conference, we've got a pretty competitive series between the Golden Knights and the Oilers. Who knows what you're going to get from these teams? You know,
series is tied 2-2, correct? I'm good on that. 2-2.
It's 2-1.
2-1.
Golden Knights.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are they playing again tonight?
No, they played last night. So they played last night. They won 5-1. So then they play again in Edmonton tomorrow.
Okay. Now, let's be honest. Houston might have the two best offensive players in the NHL right now in Draisaitl and McDavid.
And their other guy, Rise Nugent-Hopkins, scored 40 goals too. Like all three of those dudes scored more than 40, and McDavid scored over 60. So
there's just unfortunately nothing after those three, and they don't have the best goaltending.
They don't have the best goaltender. Their defense is a little lacking as well.
I know. I spoke down on Georgie with the Avs, Gorgiev. I know I said he needed to be better for the Avs to advance, and we disagreed on that. Whatever. That's not where I'm going with this. If Edmonton had Gorgiev, they would be ecstatic right now and probably winning 3-0 right now in that series. Their goalie has just been not great, unfortunately.
They score a lot of goals. They give up a lot of goals.
Yeah, they do.
But Cody sent us some notes. I agree that series is probably going to go 7.
I would agree. Absolutely.
Pretty back and forth. We have the darlings of the NHL playoffs, the Kraken, playing the Stars.
Cody, I mean, my dude, this clap is for you. A slow clap, a golf clap. This is all for you, my guy. One of the best assessments I've heard. I didn't even hear any of the talking heads bring up the point that Cody gave us with the Kraken might be the best 5-on-5 team in the NHL. Straight up, 5-on-5, they might be the best 5-on-5 team in the NHL. And Cody told us going into the Avs series, that's something that I should be worried about. And, man, is that just playing out as one of the most true statements we've heard in this entire playoffs, Pinky?
Yeah, I mean, they're up 2-1 on the Stars. They're playing tonight. They are down right now 1-0 to the Stars. This series should go 7 as well. The Stars are, pretty talented. But Kraken are playing just tough, good hockey. And Grubauer's playing out of his mind for the most part. And
so then he wasn't Av.
When your goalie's playing really good, you can steal those games in the playoffs. So,
well, something interesting about the Kraken, I'm going to butcher this. Go ahead.
One of the best jerseys / logos out there.
Absolutely,
it's awesome.
Absolutely,
they've got a hat with just like this big octopus. I'm gonna get that hat. Like, it is gorgeous. It's awesome.
I don't think I can rock any Kraken gear just because I'm an Avs fan. And unlike you, I am a big fan of all teams in all sports, but I only rock my own team stuff. And I don't even rock. I mean, let's be honest, Pinky. The only stuff I really truly rock is my Huskers stuff. I'm not the type of fan that rocks a lot of gear. I just never have been. I'm hit and miss with it. I also don't have a lot of money to spend on stuff, so I'm usually buying regular clothes instead of gear.
you do T-shirts and hats and hoodies.
I do.
I do jerseys, hats, hoodies. Well, I don't have a lot of hoodies, but
But so I'm not. I've never been a big gear guy. I will rep the shit out of my Huskers, though. I will not deny that. But red's also my favorite color, so it's easy to grab Husker gear and go from there. But I do love the Kraken stuff. I will not deny that. But yeah, I love the Kraken stuff. What I was going to say, the interesting stat is, and I'm probably going to butcher this a little bit, so I apologize. But the average age of the Kraken team is something like 28 years old, and they don't have a guy more than 2 years on either side of that line, or something within that. So they are a very veteran but not old veteran team, and they have a lot of guys with hockey experience who are hungry. And I think that is a huge factor that is going very overlooked for that team in this playoff run that they're making right now.
Yeah, I think that Kraken series is going 7. At least that's what I think.
I don't know. The way the Kraken are playing, they might be able to take it in 6. They are playing some great hockey right now.
I mean, they're down 2-0 now, so we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I don't know about that, Clayton. I don't know, buddy.
Oh, definitely not. Sorry, buddy. I got no love there. No love there, my guy.
I mean, you did love Aaron Rodgers though, so I'll give you that.
Yeah, but he's not Wisconsin. He's Green Bay. There's a definitive difference there.
Green Bay is in Wisconsin.
But it's not Wisconsin.
Okay, well, ish.
It's not Wisconsin. I ain't repping no Badgers. Get out of here with that nonsense. I don't need that on my Juju radar. They've had my Huskers number, unfortunately. Get out of here with that. I hate that shit.
Fucking Nuggets.
Because they're never great. They're just good. And I need my Huskers to be great again and beat the good teams. And he's got his Badgers over here with God dang, who was it? Ron Dane. I think it was the Ron Dane team. They went and ran like for 485 yards against the Huskers in the Big Ten championship game and just made us look foolish. Yeah, sorry. Respect to Wisconsin. Can't stand them.
Clayton, he's just a hater, bro. Don't mind him. He's just a hater.
No hate. I gave respect. A hater wouldn't give respect. Right? I mean, that's a true statement, isn't it?
I don't know. All right, let's finish the NHL. Maybe we'll talk. We'll have a little more time to talk.
Let's go. So I like the Kraken in that series. I like Edmonton in the other series. But very, very easy to see both going 7.
I hope the Kraken play. I hope the Oilers make it. But if they play the Golden Knights and the Kraken getting to the Stanley Cup Finals, one of those two teams, that'd be awesome. It'd be their first time going. That'd be really cool. Or I think the Knights went to the Stanley Cup, but they lost, I think.
I want to say they haven't made the Stanley Cup. They've gotten to the conference finals a couple times, but I don't think they've gotten to the Stanley Cup.
I thought they
did that one year. They did that one year with Fleury as the goalie.
That was their first year.
Yep.
That was their first year in existence.
With Fleury as the goalie. That's right. They did. They absolutely did.
They went to the – they haven't been to the Stanley Cup.
It was just the finals? I was right the first time?
It was the conference finals in 2017, 2018. So they must have lost. No, they did go to the Stanley Cup. They just didn't win one. They lost. Man,
you're really up and down here, Pinky. Good thing you're not a regular stat guy.
Hey, I could show it to you, but it says on Google, Stanley Cups 0. So I thought that they hadn't gone to one, but yeah, they did go to the Stanley Cup. They just lost to the Capitals. That's when Ovechkin got his ring. So, in the East,
that's right.
those games are not as good in the East, where you've got the Florida Panthers demolishing the Maple Leafs. That series is 3-0 Panthers with a chance to close out next tomorrow
night, right? Tomorrow night
in Florida.
Yep.
And I mean, the Panthers have just been dominating. I mean, the Maple Leafs were a good story. I know their fan base really, they hadn't been out of the first round in the last 4 years.
They're an original 6, aren't they? I'm pretty sure. Cody, sorry if I blew that, but I'm pretty sure Toronto is one of the original 6.
I feel like they're at least close, but
let me think about this. Them, I think it's Toronto.
my Google skills aren't great. Okay.
Them, Edmonton, Chicago, Detroit, Boston, and New York.
So you've got the Boston Bruins, the Chicago Blackhawks, the Detroit Red Wings, the Montreal Canadiens.
I'm sorry, I said Oilers. I meant the Canadiens.
New York Rangers, and the Toronto Maple Leafs.
I messed up on the Oilers and I meant the Canadiens, so that's my fault there. But I nailed 5 out of the 6. That's pretty good for somebody who's not necessarily a hockey guy.
We can forget about the Maple Leafs. They will be done probably tomorrow.
So here's an interesting tidbit about that series that I think is interesting, and I have yet to hear anybody talk about this. And you know I listen to and watch a lot of sports talk, Pinky.
That you do.
Florida was the President's Trophy Cup or the President's Trophy winner last year. They were the overall 1 seed. They were the best team in the NHL, and they got smoked out of the first round, I do believe, last year. They come in this year, basically the same team, underachieved this year for some reason. I don't know if it was because of injuries or what. I don't follow the NHL regular season close enough other than the Avs to comment on that. But they underachieved as far as their talent goes. Basically the same team. Sneak in as the 8th seed. And people basically discounted them because they were playing Boston, the best regular season team in NHL history. And they smoked Boston. I mean, let's be honest. Yes, it was 6 games, I believe that series went to.
Right.
But when you're the 8 seed and you beat the 1 seed, you smoke them. You know what I mean? You smoke them. And they go on to the second round. Now they're killing Toronto. This is what people expected to see from Florida last year as the President Trophy winner. Now they're doing it this year. And I have this, call it conspiracy theory if you want, that they finished as the 8 seed on purpose so they could literally roll into these playoffs with 0 expectations on their back, play with house money the whole time, but know they're good enough to go all the way. So I like Florida to actually be in the Stanley Cup Finals at this point.
I mean, it's going to be a tough matchup. They're going to play the Hurricanes,
who are just smoking the Devils. What are they up? 6-1 on the Devils tonight?
They beat the Devils 6-1. It's they're up 3-1 in the series. The Devils are a good young team, but Hurricanes are just, I mean, they're just demolishing them. It's none of these games have really been close either. Like they've been, most of them have been. The game 3 was 8-4. I'm sorry, 8-4 Devils. That was the one game the Devils did win. Hurricanes 6-1. Hurricanes 5-1. Like all these games are just blowouts. Like nobody's won close.
Yeah.
So
sorry, I'm just watching. Murray just went down awkwardly, twisted his ankle, it looked like, and he's still gimping around on the court.
Well, that's not good.
Not at all.
Although he hasn't been shooting great even tonight. He's 1 for 6 tonight, so I don't know if we want him shooting anyways. But it's sure nice
you want him on the court.
It's sure nice to have that possibility on the court. So,
Suns 22-7 run in the last 7 minutes. That's just unacceptable.
Right. I don't understand how you score 35 in the first and then all of a sudden you're just ice cold. It just doesn't make sense.
Because of the way you're playing defense. based on what I'm seeing tonight, Malone has not changed that scheme at all. But again, I'm sitting in a basement in Colorado Springs doing a podcast on a Tuesday night, and Malone is the head coach in the NBA. So what the hell do I know, right? I'm a dumbass. No matter how smart I think I am when I come to this shit, I'm not actually doing it.
I need to go back and record that and have that on my cell phone. I'm a dumbass.
So you could put that on a loop. You've had a couple of those over the year that you wish you could have done. We should just pay somebody. Just pay somebody. Go get my win-loss record. Go get Pinky's loops for him, and let's roll.
That sounds like a lot of money to pay an intern.
$100 to some freshman high schooler. Done. Here's your summer gig, kid.
So yeah, I mean, Hurricanes.
I'll write your next 3 reports for you. You'll get A's. Like, what do we need to trade here? Like, I can make this happen.
So Hurricanes and the Panthers, and Panthers haven't won a Stanley Cup, have they?
I want to say they've got one. Stat it up, Pinky. Let's see if you can redeem yourself a little bit here.
I know they lost to the Avs in one of their Stanley Cup appearances. So,
I want to say they have one.
They have 0 Stanley Cups.
Okay. How many have they made?
1.
Okay.
95-96, they were the conference champion. So
okay. Well, I think this might be their best chance, honestly, because it's wide open. This NHL playoff run right now, it's wide open.
And the Hurricanes do have a Stanley Cup. The
Hurricanes have one?
2005, 2006.
I would have gotten that trivia question wrong. I would have said Florida has one and the Hurricanes don't. Okay.
So, if coming out of the East, the Hurricanes get a chance at another one. Panthers get a chance at their first. If the Kraken and the Golden Knights both get there, they'll have a chance at their first. That's awesome, man. I like it when you get to see some team win for the first time. So
let's be honest. Let's be honest. If you're rooting for anybody right now, it's the Kraken. Right? Am I wrong? Like
I mean, Golden Knights fans are pretty obnoxious, so yeah, probably the Kraken. Probably.
I would love to see Kraken, Florida, Northwest, Southeast, about as far apart as you could possibly get. 2 teams that have never won a Stanley Cup. One is in its 2nd year in the league. I think that would be an awesome Stanley Cup. I would be watching that. I don't care if most of America wouldn't. I would be. I'd be checking that out.
We know you'd be watching. Again, you'll watch, you'd watch that slap championship if you had to.
Nope. I finally found, and I was going to text that in our group chat with Blea. I finally found a sport that if it was the only thing on, I would take no part in, and I would no longer be a sports fan. And that's slap league. That shit is trash, dude.
Oh, man.
Absolute
I saw one.
Trash.
I saw one. There was 2 chicks going at it. And the one chick, she was from like, I don't know, some Slovakian country. She got slapped. And then she just gave that little like smile like she liked it. And then slapped the shit out of the other girl. It was like, damn. I was in, man.
That's literally, in my opinion, and I never thought I'd say this, with anything that's considered a sport, I never thought I'd say it's not a sport. That's not a sport. Because the other person, 95% of the time, the person going second doesn't even have a chance to retaliate or go back or whatever you want to. Like, that is the dumbest shit. I am blown away that Dana White would attach the UFC's name to that shit. It is trash. Trash.
Well, there's also the butt slap
third
league
world
too.
Country, cobalt mining, poor trash. Like, it is bad. Real bad.
You let those people make their money, Caleb.
I'm all for those people making their money. You go make your money however you want. Just don't tell me it's a sport and tell me I should watch it. No. And I never thought I'd say that. I never thought I'd say that, Pinky, but I almost put that out there on our group chat the other day because I could not believe how much I dislike and do not understand how that shit even has people watching it.
I will say I'm entertained. I'm just saying. I'm entertained.
God, you got to be dumb as shit to do that. Like, you literally have to have minimal brain cells to start with to enter yourself into that competition.
Bro, those people have limited options, bro. Like, that's a fact.
No, that's crazy to say because I don't think you understand how limited the options have to be, how dumb they actually have to be, because the winner only gets like $2,000. Like, that's the overall purse win is like $2,000. So to say you have limited options and for me to say you have limited brain cells really shows how low these people are for them to enter this competition. Ugh, hate that thing. I literally would watch quarter flipping as a sport over slap.
Whew. All right, man. We did NBA. We did NHL. We don't have a lot of NFL going on. We got the schedule release coming out on Thursday.
Next week, so NFL release is the schedule release is this Thursday. So, as a heads up, we'll finish with the Avs here in just a second, Clayton. We're giving a little peek preview into next week for you. We'll be heavy NFL schedule, heavy NFL. We've got a couple other thoughts on some NFL topics we wanted to run through next week. And we're gonna have a guest next week. He's a former caddy on the LPGA tour, so we're gonna get a little caddy story time next week and get some thoughts on the PGA Championship. So tune in if any of that interests you. I promise you there'll be some good stories regarding golf in general. Like I said, former professional caddy on the LPGA tour. And we'll get his thoughts on the PGA Championship coming up starting next Thursday. And then with the NFL schedule release this Thursday, we'll be recapping that and discussing some NFL. And then obviously we'll be talking some NBA playoffs and that we can never get away from. I am a very big basketball guy as well as NFL guy. And all sports. And then we'll try to throw in a sprinkle of the NHL as well because we'll have some series either wrapped up or going deep in the series next week.
I mean, the Eastern Conference final should be set by next Tuesday.
Should be, exactly. So we'll have a little bit of next week. We might run a little long. We're known to do that from time to time. Next week might be one of those episodes. But it should be a fun episode. We'll start with the tales of a former caddy, as we're going to call it. We'll start there, and then we'll kind of work our way through. So please tune in next week with us. Clayton, we did promise you some Avs stuff. I did not forget about it. I appreciate the reminder, though. Some big news came out from the Colorado Avalanche today, Pinky. You want to You kind of threw it out there first to the group chat today, so feel free to let you break it here if you will.
I mean, it's Landeskog's having some crazy ass surgery that's already got him out for next season. Like
cartilage knee cartilage replacement, however you want to say that, surgery. Which I'll be honest, when you told me he was out, and I saw that text from you. I instantly kind of was at work. I'm in the office. I'm at work. And I'm like, oh, I got to take a quick break. I'll be right back. And I went and pulled up my notifications, immediately started doing my research and found out that it was knee cartilage replacement surgery, which, honest to God, blew my mind because I didn't even know that was a possibility to do. Like you hear meniscus tears and stuff. A meniscus tear is like the cartilage between your knee joints. That once that goes away, you start doing bone on bone. And I've been told you can't really replace. There are some surgeries where you can try to replicate and put a fake meniscus in and stuff like that, but it never really goes well. This sounds like what an Achilles used to be, 10 to 15 years ago.
Right.
It was a career ender. That's what this sounds like to me. And I hate saying that out loud, but I it's so hard for me to imagine Landeskog actually coming back from this and playing quality NHL minutes again.
I think the last memory we're gonna have of Landeskog is him holding the Stanley Cup with no shirt on, with the flag, with his Finnish flag behind him, or whatever country he's from. I think he's Finnish.
Finland sounds right. Sweden?
Yeah.
It's Finland.
I think it's Finland.
That sounds right.
But that's going to be the lasting image. I don't think he plays another. He should not play another game of hockey.
Hockey fans hate us right now.
I know, man. I just
look. Just be happy we're talking about it, okay? Not very many people in the American sports market media will give you airtime. Just be happy we're talking about it.
I just at some point, I don't want to see him get hurt again. I don't want to see his knee get
Swedish.
worse. Like,
I was right. It's Swedish because it's that the Swedish flag is like that light blue, yellow, right? Dark blue, I think.
But Clayton,
before I piss off all our Swedish fans, I better look that up as well.
the Avs are still in a decent spot because they do have Mikko, McKinnon, and Makar. When you have three studs like that, you can compete.
Quick side note. The Swedish flag is not like stripes and light blue and dark blue and yellow, like I said. It's blue and yellow, like some stars and a cross, kind of X cross thing. So we're all over the place, but we're trying to give you your due, okay? We're doing our research on air. We're trying to make it right. Just stick with us.
I mean, Avs will make the playoffs next year, Clayton. There's no worries there. But they're going to have to build some more depth.
They've got some work to do. They need a second-line center. Some of this we can talk about. Some of this we listen to and follow enough where we might sound smart when we talk about hockey. They need a second-line center bad. If they want to go with JT Compher, then they're going to have to find some wings to put around him.
If Nushkin had not just disappeared because of his issues, we probably win that series.
Yeah, but we don't go past probably the second round. You know what I mean? Like the Avs were not winning the cup this year.
I don't think we beat the Stars. I agree. I don't think we beat the Stars.
And that's unfortunate. But the reality is the Avs were not winning a cup this year, no matter how well they played to end the season. Everybody knows playoff hockey gets turned up exponentially from the regular season. And we just didn't have the depth that we had last year. We just couldn't get fully healthy. The Avs could not get fully healthy. So it cost them. They've got some work to do. They got to find some depth on the defensive side of the ice. And they've got to find some second line, blue line stuff. There's opportunity and options out there. One name I've heard, one of the local radio stations I listen to, guy's pretty level-headed. He doesn't really do any hot takes. He just kind of gives his thoughts. And one of the names he kept throwing out for that second-line center was Ryan O'Reilly. And I actually really like that idea. Coming back home, if you will, in a sense, back to the Avalanche. But he's also been playing really well in Toronto, and he hasn't been able to say enough glowing things about his time once he got to Toronto this season. So I don't know if we'll be able to pull him away from Toronto if we're willing to offer the same contracts. Now, playing with McKinnon, playing with Makar can definitely give you a little bit of a bump there, but we'll see. There are some other names out there. Kane is going to be a free agent. Right now, he's just a rental for the Rangers.
There's no way the Avs get Kane, bro.
I'm just saying, I'm not saying they get him. I'm just saying there's some other names out there that, maybe miracles happen. Kachuk is also with the Rangers. That's another name out there that I've heard. Defensively, I can't really tell you who's out there. I think they've got some good guys in Byram and Makar, Taves. But Taves is on the final. This is his last year on his contract. Next year's the last year on his contract. He's got an expiring contract. So those are usually guys you see get moved. I don't know if they keep him or if they move him to kind of bolster that blue line or add extra depth to that defensive side of the ice. I'm still not sold on Georgiev. I am more than willing to give him another year because he is a young goalie, and this was his first year as a starter. First year playing in the playoffs, first year in the big spotlight.
And he won 40 games.
So
he had the second most shutouts of any goalie in the league.
the things I said about Georgiev were never to say I don't like his potential going forward, but it was to be critical in a sense. I mean, like, look, if you're going to have a sports talk show, it's not all rainbows and roses, right?
What?
Pinky and I do not agree with each other on a regular basis. I think that's part of the reason people enjoy listening to us, because they're going to get different thoughts and opinions. But I think Georgiev allowing as many glove side goals as he did was weak. I think he's got some work to do in this offseason to improve his game going forward. But I'm more than good to say if they want to run with him next year, let's do it. I don't know if there's better options out there or not. That I don't know. So I can't necessarily comment on that aspect. But I wouldn't hate letting him run again as long as you can put some more weapons and depth around him like you did for Kemper and Francois. I mean, let's be honest. I'm not going to deny that the Avs played sluggish. I said they played, what was the word I used, Pinky? Flat. I think I said they were playing flat, something along those lines.
I mean, they played flat. That's a fair assessment.
I don't think they played terrible, but they didn't play great by any means. They didn't do their goalie any favors. But I also believe some of the goals Georgiev let in are goals that maybe you saw Kemper or Francois save last year that allowed their team to win in advance. So, as a whole, the Avs got some work to do. They still have two of the top 10 players in the NHL in Makar and McKinnon. I've heard some people argue they're two of the top 5 players in the NHL. I don't know if I quite go that high because there is a lot of great talent in the NHL right now. I think you are seeing a resurgence of the NHL as a product as a whole. So I will easily say McKinnon and Makar to the top 10. So when you have that, people are going to want to come play with you.
I think you could
can
say,
you make the dollars make sense? That's the kicker. Do the dollars make sense for people to come play with the Avs?
I think you could make the case that McKinnon is one of the top 5 puck handlers in the league.
McKinnon, I would say McKinnon's one of the top 3 players in the NHL. And I think you could, on a lot of people's boards, that would be a fair statement. I don't
because
think
of what he can do with the puck
in that stratosphere yet. But he is last 3 years, he's been voted as one of the top. He's been in that running for the Conn Smythe.
He didn't have the scoring touch this year that he had last year. So, and we missed that. We missed him being able to score on a regular basis this season.
Honestly, though, his goals per and things of that nature were just as good as they were last year. It's just that you didn't see the guys around him stepping up as much as you would have liked to, and that was a killer. Clayton, you're gonna have to elaborate a little bit. I'm not sure.
Why is that
I'm not sure I understand. You saying expansion going to 36
I don't
teams?
know what that means.
Is that what you're saying? I'm not sorry, Clayton. I'm not familiar with what you're talking about here. Cody might have known. So if Cody was able to be in the chat tonight, he might have been able to help us out. But Cody had prior.
I don't know if they can support 36 teams.
They definitely cannot.
I mean, you already have a team like
so if that's
Phoenix,
what you're talking about,
get the hell out of there.
Honestly, I don't think there's any professional sport right now in America that can handle 36 teams. Not even the NFL.
Well, I think the NFL, again, I'm still thinking they would international. I don't know how to do that, but I still think they would have 2 international teams. But
that's still only getting you to 34, Pinky. That's still only getting you to 34. That's not even 36. That's a big jump to go 4 extra teams.
No. There's cities in America that don't have a team that you could put a team in.
I'm not worried about the city supporting it. I'm worried about the
Portland's a big
talent.
enough team. You can put a team up there.
I don't think there's enough talent right now to support 36 teams.
Oh, well, it's not. But the NFL doesn't care about that. They just care about making their money.
They do care about diluting the product, though.
36 teams being good.
That the NFL does care about diluting their product.
NFL,
I think right now 36 would dilute the product.
If the NFL could add 4 teams and they know they would make additional money because now they've got additional games, they got additional markets, they've got additional marketing. They would do it. Now, again, the owners have to sign off on it.
Surprise, surprise, you and I
expansion.
disagree. Yeah, I don't think they would right now because I think that would give them too many bottom feeders, and they don't like that product. They don't like seeing that bottom feeder product. That's part of the reason they have things in place to keep that competitive balance and that parity within the league as close as they can right now. And I think 36 would ruin that for them right now. I'm not saying eventually they can't get there. I mean, as the population grows, you're seeing some decent talent in both the XFL and the USFL right now. I'm not saying you're seeing like Pro Bowl caliber all pro talent, but you're seeing some decent talent that says there is still some talent out there that could make an NFL roster. I don't think you're seeing enough talent, though, to support 4 additional NFL rosters, is what I'm saying.
Well, it would make some teams – there'd be some bad teams. I agree with you on that. I just don't think the NFL would care that much about having a couple bad teams if they knew they were making money.
And I will say, and I know we slightly disagree on this, not maybe as wide of a disagreement as some of our other things that we disagree on, but I think we're closer than not on this, that right now an international team is just not feasible. With travel and things of that nature, it just doesn't make sense right now for what the NFL is trying to accomplish in their schedule and trying to allow teams the proper rest and things of that nature. The international team just doesn't make sense right now. Not even Mexico City.
Well, can't hate you on that. All right, man. Closing thoughts?
The NBA playoffs have been really good this year. Whether you necessarily like the teams in them or not, it has actually been a really good talent-wise, competitive NBA playoffs. NHL playoffs are always on a different level. It's always fun watching. If you're not a hockey fan, we've said this before, but we do recommend you check out the NHL playoffs because it is a different level of intensity. It's a different atmosphere, and it is fun to watch, even on TV. Next week, we're going to have some fun. I promise you that Tales from a Caddy, our guest, good dude, will love to chop it up. So that'll be worth it. And we're going to have some NFL stuff rolling in here soon because we've got, like Pinky said, schedule release. Things are about to roll in. We're looking at doing one of our Dynasty League drafts live as an extra show on one of the weekends coming up here in the next month or so. So we'll be doing some NFL stuff too.
Here's what's funny about schedule release, and I love it. I really get a kick out of it. It's crazy that we already know who's playing who. And you can already kind of look at the matchups and all that. We just don't know when they're playing. And again, some of that doesn't really matter in the scheme of things. There are some things you're like, oh, you played 3 road games in a row. Oh, you had to play a Thursday night game, and then you had to Monday, or just those weird. But I just like looking at it like, what prime time games are we going to get? What matchups did we get here? What? Oh yeah, I remember you found it. We were probably
if everybody
way off.
could see that, I saved this so that Pinky and I could go back over this again at some point in this offseason. This is our win-loss record for every team in the NFL last year. This is we took everybody's schedule. When did we do this, Pinky? Early August? First week of training camp, somewhere in there?
I thought we watched SummerSlam and WWE SummerSlam and
so right around the end of July, right about when training camp started, we went through everybody's schedule and we picked win-losses. We weren't great, okay? We'll admit it. We were not great. There are very many mistakes made on this, and we will admit to that. But then again, pretty much everybody that did that last year was really bad. So we've got it. We'll discuss it again. We'll eat our crow. We don't mind. And then, you know, again, we do it every year. We love it. It's kind of like the draft. When we talk about the draft and we do our mock draft, first round mock draft, every year we like to look at the schedule once training camp starts. We're right in that area. And we like to pick win-loss records for everybody too. It's just something we enjoy doing. And we don't admit to being high percent. Look, I might be 70% of my takes as far as win-loss of being accurate and not accurate. When it comes to the draft and the schedule release, we don't claim to be above 500 in any shape, way, or form. But we do try to give our honest, accurate opinions and then let it play out from there. So that'll be something coming up this offseason as well, and we'll review that. But, you know, we just try to have fun, discuss the topics of the times, and go from there.
That's it, buddy. That's it. So hopefully the Nuggets finish off the game tonight. Hopefully we all go to bed happy.
They're playing good basketball, honestly, right now. But we're still, you know, early in the third quarter. So let's see how things unfold.
It's early. Once it's 20 points, maybe we can feel better, but it's early.
It's got to be 20 points with like 8 minutes left in the fourth for me to feel good about that, Pinky. If there's one thing I think I've taught you about the NBA this year specifically, is that no lead is really safe, and the NBA is a game of runs.
Unfortunately, that's true. Unfortunately, that is true.
So, Pinky, your final thoughts?
You know, I am hoping, I put this out on Twitter. I'm hoping game 1 of the NFL season, which is in Kansas City as the Super Bowl champion, gets to host the opening game. I am hoping it is against an AFC West opponent, because they're talking about Chiefs Eagles, Chiefs Bills, Chiefs Bengals.
I personally would love to see Chiefs Jets.
I could go. I think the Jets play the Chiefs in New York. I don't think that's an option.
Okay. So, I mean, that if I had a wish list, I think that'd be a great first weekend game.
Unless maybe it was the Jets. I don't know if they I don't know if they want to put Aaron Rodgers out there against Mahomes first game. I think that's a great idea. I do. I just think let's get those games at a different point in the schedule, prime time, after they've had some games to warm up, and then you get the best team.
Well, let's be honest. If it's AFC West, your only option is the Chargers Chiefs. They had a couple good games last year. If Herbert doesn't get hurt in their first matchup, LA probably
might have won that game.
Yeah,
they might have won that game.
Or if Staley's smart enough to just call a timeout when Everett is telling him he needs a timeout, they probably win that game, because honestly, the dude was so gassed he couldn't even run his dig route properly.
Right.
So I think that would be a really cool matchup. I'll give you that. That would be really cool. But if I don't get that, if I don't get Jets, KC, I would like to see Chargers, KC opening week. That'd be good.
And I'm already planning a get-together for that game. It is my daughter's birthday, so I'm going to make it a special. Let's watch the football game and my daughter's birthday at the same time. It's kind of a long-running joke. Her birthday is September 7th, so every so often the NFL schedule starts on that day. 2014 or 13, Ravens couldn't play at home, so they had to come to Denver to play. It was her birthday. I went to the game, September 7th, and Peyton Manning threw 7 touchdowns. It was glorious.
Oh, my goodness.
Glorious.
I'm always down to hang out with you, but due to having a toddler, and at that point in time, I'll have a 2.5-month-old, roughly. You could probably scratch my name off that list.
He'll be asleep. It'll be fine. He'll be asleep.
The toddler will be. The 2.5-month-old, that's like, you get what, like 2 hours on, 2 hours off. Like, that's...
Yeah, you can't feed it anyway, so you'll be fine. Be fine.
Do not let my wife hear you say that. We probably won't be allowed to hang out ever.
I went through 4, bro. I know how it goes.
Oh, goodness.
Changing diapers, rocking, holding to sleep, you got it. Feeding them, you're out. So
yeah, that is true. If we go that route, if we go the bottle route, then I'm tag in, baby. Like, that's how that's going to go down. So we'll see. We'll see. I will say, anyone out there, you know, Clayton, we truly appreciate you, my dude, getting off of work and tuning right in. You don't know how much that means to us, honestly. Means the world. To anybody else out there watching, listening, you know, watching this later when it's not live, we do not care. All we care about is that there is support out there. And, you know, it might sound cliche, it might sound cheesy. I really don't give a shit. It truly does mean the world to Pinky and I.
Okay.
All the support, whether you agree with us,
Like,
if you
subscribe.
disagree with us. Yeah, we don't care
Catch us on
if
Facebook.
you like any of our
Catch
takes.
us on Twitter.
What we do care about is that you find us entertaining enough to listen and yell at the screen and tell us we're wrong. That's what we care about. And it's something that we love. We enjoy doing this immensely. If we could find a way to make this our full-time jobs, we would jump on it in a heartbeat. And I can tell you with a definitive certainty, no matter how big we ever got, if that we ever got lucky enough for that to happen, Pinky and I truly do believe in remembering where we came from, and recognizing and supporting the people who followed us from the beginning. Whether you believe that or not, I can tell you with 100% certainty it's true. It's how we feel. We love the interaction. We love being able to, do this on a weekly basis and have people out there who actually care enough to follow it. So thank you. Truly. Thank you. And on that note, as always, cheers to everybody out there. Make sure you spend that quality time with that loved one, that friend, those people you consider in your inner circle. We will always and forever end the show this way because it means so much to us. Find that time, cherish that time, and never take that time for granted. Appreciate all you guys. Love all you guys. Cheers. We're out.
Unsung narrative, young, dumb American, arrogant, throwing fits, ripping shit, tearing it, imperative. Then I'm killing this mic.